Good afternoon, Gabriel.
Hello, hello, how's it going?
It's nice to see you again and to meet you properly for the first time.
Great.
Now, I've done a bit of research, and apparently you're not guilty of any of the crimes that I initially thought. But,
Unfortunately, not.
yeah, no. But now the thing that I realised about you was because you're from Gibraltar, English at home may not be your first language, but it's certainly your first language at school. So your English is as good, if not better, than most of us English people.
Well, our education at least, we can't really have the same thoughts in Spanish because we've been taught in English all our lives. So even when we're thinking about something literature related or philosophy or music, we tend to express ourselves better in English. But when it talks about domestic issues, like artichokes or like soup, anything to do with the house, we don't really, sometimes we forgot the English words.
Now,
because we're used to it in Spanish, yeah.
On that note, because you have a patois in Gibraltar,
Exactly.
So it's Janito.
Janito is what you call it, yeah.
Now, a lot of your poetry, I notice, is written as a mixture of English and Janito, I think.
Yeah, that's been only late. It's been like last year I started to do that. Before I used to publish in Spanish or in English. But now because Cambridge University were doing a real project with my work about fusing languages, I started to write in Janito and it came more naturally. And now I'm writing 100 sonnets in Janito. So that will be finished in a couple of months' time. And I'm publishing that in Janito. There's a mixer of the languages.
By the way, I know you've written a number of books, 10 or 12 or something.
Yeah, 12.
I can't find them anywhere.
No,
I bought one on Kindle, which was Passerby, and everything was either, you did it in English and then the same poem
that
in
one's
Spanish.
bilingual, yeah, that's bilingual. But most of the books have a very short runs. We did 300 copies. They were all sold. And because we are poor poets, you don't have the money to reprint them.
Mind you, putting them on Kindle is one.
Yeah, I've got my new book, Heart Mortally Wounded by Six Strings.
Yes, I saw that.
That's in the website and in Amazon as well.
So you grew up in Gibraltar. Both your parents are Gibraltese, are they?
Yeah.
Was it a happy childhood? I mean, you're a poet, so you're allowed to have.
It can't be a happy childhood if it's a poet.
No, exactly.
There was traumas coming out everywhere.
Right.
Traumas in the family, traumas in the money, traumas in the political situation, traumas with Spain. Everything was a trauma.
Now, I know you came to the University of Hull to do your degree course.
Exactly.
How old were you? About 18?
18 I was when first time I was stepping out of Gibraltar, yeah.
And how did you get on with Hull and English life there?
I was very strange because it was supposed to be the grimmest and the most hostile of atmospheres, but I thrived because I found the urban landscape and my character went really well. And I loved the nightlife. They had like 6 days of 6 music days every week for students, and we had all kinds of gigs. I got a band together, so I thrived. It was some of the best days of my life. But the atmosphere itself, if you looked at it, was completely grim and dark and cold, and there was a lot of violence. There was a lot of violence against students. We got beaten up quite a few times because they didn't understand the idea of foreigners at that time in Hull coming, and taking over the venues. And there's a lot of grit, but there's also a lot of working class noble people, and I felt really connected to that. And sometimes in London I felt there was too much of mask. Everything was a bit more plastic. I felt in Hull everyone was quite genuine.
How long, have you more or less lived permanently in England? I know you've been around the world, but...
No, I was in Barcelona for 10 years. After that, I lived in Peru, in Chile, I lived in Italy, in Naples, and then I moved to England 2012, I think, 13 it was. And then I went to New York, and then I came back, and I stayed here. Yeah.
Do you have any feel for where you're going to end up?
Probably now, because I have family. I've got my child and my partner.
Is she English?
She's English.
Okay.
So it's probably going to be either England or maybe Gibraltar in the retirement age. Although with music you can't retire. But...
Where are you based from, in London? Or?
London is Deptford, southeast London.
Okay, yeah.
I like that area as well. I find it quite... I like places which seem to be less fashionable and a bit more talk to us, and people are a bit more genuine, and there seem to be less show and more real life.
I know you do a lot of work for the cultural side of Gibraltar, and you made an ambassador in 2021.
Yeah.
And you seem to do a lot of work with people over there, helping them learn music and write poetry and that sort of thing. So obviously it's a thing very close to your heart. What kind of identity would you give yourself? Are you Gibraltese 90%, or are you British? Or...
Well, I definitely feel that everyone is kind of a mix of so many places, so many histories, so many legacies. I think we're all kind of specks thrown into the universe, But obviously, because of my roots, I find my history. It's Gibraltarian. It's that mix of the Spanish, the English, the Moroccan, the Sephardic Jew, and Maltese. All these influences. My great grandparents were from Italy. Genovese. Italian because it was the merchants passing by that stopped in Gibraltar. The population of Gibraltar was kind of like annihilated by the English in 1714. And then the new population were Italians, Maltese, English soldiers, Spanish workers. They all mixed together. Mostly people in the doing services for others.
What comes first for you, if anything does? Is it the words or the music?
At the moment, it's mostly when I'm writing songs, the music, and I put words to that. And with the writing, obviously, there is the word, but with the music of the words. No, lyrics are everything, but I start the process with some musical kind of inspiration, some chords, some melodies. Oh, everybody has their own way into it, their own kind of pilgrimage into the creation. I find it easier to start with some musical inspiration because the words I'm always writing. So for poetry, I'm always writing words. But for the music, I feel that the song is a bit different to the poems I'm writing. I feel that when you're songwriting, in my case, we have to really define what this is. Is this a poetical expression or is it a musical expression with poetry? And then for that to happen, the music has to be as solid as the poem. Because otherwise, you're basically just like accompanying, like you say,
Stabbing punctuation,
yeah, exactly.
It's not.
No, I feel that in order to have validation as a singer-songwriter, you have to have both elements strong. I've seen people who have amazing music and the lyrics falter, or amazing lyrics and the music falter, and sometimes you see people like the Captain who have both.
What do you see as the future? Because I mean, I know you're 47, is it now?
Yeah, 47.
And I think you're rushing around the world. I know you go in April. I know you're in Gibraltar again because you've got one of your taverna evenings over in there and Italy and all this. So I can't even breathe as quickly as you travel around the world. So and that must be expensive too.
Well, it's been quite hectic lately, quite expensive, but also quite fulfilling in terms of the inspiration. The more you travel, the more you're inclined to write, the more people you're inclined to meet, the more new ideas you have. At the moment, I can keep up the pace till I can, till my body and my soul admit it, and after that, we'll have to stop. But the good things, I always feel like the poetry thing is a very different way of engaging with creativity. You can do it anywhere. You can sit down for 6 months, go to a retreat, or you can go to a beach, or you can work in a bar and then write poetry at night. So in a way, my biggest resistance to the terror of the reality is I'll do poetry, whatever happens. But for now, the music, we can still keep it going.
Excellent. Okay.